Hello everyone, and welcome back to Press A for ESL. I'm Jasmine, and I'm bringing you episode 10 of Level Up Your Grammar. Woo! We're at episode 10, so thank you so much for staying with me for 10 episodes. And for our 10th episode, our grammar point is second conditional. Now, in a previous Level Up Your Grammar, we had the first conditional from Persona 5, but this time we're going to look at second conditional and see what the difference is. So we're going to take a look at our clip from Delicious in Dungeon to help illustrate.
These plant-type monsters have lots of limbs. If I took them on one at a time, we'd be here all day. I only have to attack one spot. Its root!
Okay, did you catch the second conditional? It's very similar to the first one. So for second conditional, Elias said, if I took them on one at a time, we'd be here all day. And now first conditional, remember, is about real situations. What do you think the second conditional means? Well, let's break it down. So how is second conditional different? So this conditional form is used to talk about hypothetical or unreal situations in the present or future. So often imagining what would happen if something unlikely were true. So again, how is it different? Well, the first conditional is real and possible future situations. So for example, if it rains tomorrow, we will stay inside. This is real and possible because, the weather report could have mentioned of rain tomorrow. Now, the second conditional is unreal or hypothetical present or future situations. So if it rained now, we would stay inside. Now, right now, it's a sunny day here where I live. So if I said, if it rained now, we would stay inside, it's maybe hypothetical because I don't see a cloud in the sky. But can you guys tell the difference in forming the first conditional and second conditional? I want you to take a few seconds just to look between the two examples I provided. Can you see the difference of how to form it? Well, let's take a look at how to craft the second conditional. So to form the second conditional or crafting the second conditional, the formula is if plus subject plus past verb. So this is past simple, comma, and then subject plus would, the modal, plus base verb. So key point is after the if clause, you have to have a comma. If you don't have a comma there, it's a boop 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 boop. Now an example of this would be if I had a sword, comma, I would fight the dragon. So I is the subject, had is the past version of have, and then we have our comma, and then the I is the subject again, would is our past modal of will, and then fight is the base form of the verb fight. So if they studied, they would pass the exam. Pardon me, that's a different one. So one more time is if they studied, they would pass the exam. Because maybe you can tell this to your friends. Now to form the negative version of second conditional, where do you think the not will go? Is it in the first clause or the if clause? Or would it be in the main clause? Well, for this one, it's going to be in the main clause. So if plus subject plus past verb is the exact same as the affirmative or the positive. And then in the main clause, it's subject plus would not plus base verb. For an example, if I had, if the wizard casted fireball, the orcs would not survive. So we're talking about a hypothetical situation in the future or now. All right, now let's break down our example from Lias. So Lias said, if I took them on one at a time, we'd be here all day. Now notice this contraction, we would. So again, remember, it's spoken English. We tend to use contractions just to make our conversation quicker. So we'd be here all day is another way to say we would. Now there's nothing wrong with saying we would be here all day, but just get accustomed to hearing it. Now, if this if clause, if I took them one at a time, it's the past tense of the verb, so it's notifying us that this is an unreal situation. And in the main clause, we would be here all day, would plus base verb is showing us an imagined result. So if we took a look at the first conditional version, if I take them on one at a time, we will be here all day. The key differences are take versus took, and will versus would. So those are the key differences between the first conditional and second conditional, but how you express the sentence when you're deciding, do I want to use first or do I want to use second, is are we showing a real possibility or a hypothetical possibility? Okay, I hope you got that down because we're going to have our bonus challenge. All right, so for our bonus challenge, we have 3 questions as per usual, but they're slightly different than our previous ones. So for our first one, identify the conditional. So since we already talked about first conditional in episode 3, I thought we could test our knowledge a bit here. So our sentence is, if I were invisible, I would sneak into the treasure room. Okay, you have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this conditional is the second conditional. And the key points were in the if clause, we have were, which is past simple of the be verb. And in the main clause, we have would. And remember, would is an indication of second conditional. All right, so for this next one, I want you to put your sentences in the comments below because we're going to have 2 writing options for you. So our sentence that I would like you to complete is, if Lias were afraid of monsters, he, dungeons. Now you're going to form the negative second conditional. So if you do need to remember how to form that, you can always go back to the crafting slide. Okay, and our third bonus challenge, which is a little bit tricky if you're still not used to second conditional, is create your own. Create a sentence using second conditional in any way you like. You can make it fun by using game references, or you can talk about your life. So you can put the sentences in the comments below and I will provide you feedback on your sentences. All right, let's go into a brief review before we say goodbye. All right, so our review is second conditional equals imaginary or hypothetical situations in now or the future. To form the second conditional, it's if plus subject plus past verb, and then with a comma, and then subject plus would plus base form of the verb. And don't forget, in spoken English, many speakers contract the main clause by saying I'd, we'd, etc. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for embarking on our grammar adventure. You earned 10 experience points. Now, we only have a couple more weeks left with Delicious in Dungeon before we move on to Genshin Impact. So I'll see you next week. Thank you.